Okay, we have a green box. We have a live counter ticking up, so we should now be live.
Hello, everybody.
Holy shit,
It's
who are
Hello,
you?
Mac.
hello.
Who are you?
Uh, I'm here from the distant future to warn you that there is, in fact, a duck with a knife in this room.
Oh, thank God, I thought you were
God.
going to tell us about climate change.
Oh no, you don't need to know about that. You're already doomed.
Cool, cool. Just wanted to know.
So yeah, hello everybody. I'm back. I survived, and I have returned. And today, we're talking about one of the topics that's near and dear to all of our hearts, I'm sure, the shonen ending problem. Now, would one of my lovely co-hosts like to elaborate on what we refer to as the shonen ending problem?
Basically, a lot of shonen end shit. There are
That's a
obviously that's a very basic summation of the issue,
yeah.
but obviously there are the rare series that do manage to end well, but there have been some really big series that have stumbled badly at the end.
I
Yeah.
mean, to be fair, we should set some ground rules because there's series that stumble badly at the end, but there's also series that start stumbling badly 2 arcs in and never
Yeah.
get better.
There is that
So we
point as
should,
well.
We
yes.
should let's break it down as to
Oh,
what causes the shonen ending
okay,
problem in the
but
first place and some examples.
before that, Mill, can we put a big old spoiler warning
Ah, the
up on
spoil.
screen?
I've basically kept the spoiler warning up at all times now. There's no point in taking it off because we never actually censor ourselves in terms of spoilers.
So yeah, as with any episode about endings, major spoilers abound. So if you want to maybe skip this one, feel free.
Yeah, that is entirely fair. There spoilers abound with this,
Though, to be fair, we're going
understandably.
to be talking about some old series as well.
Yeah,
Of course.
So it's kind of
I
like
mean,
if it's
in terms of recent series, what are the ones we're actually going to talk about? Because Doctor Stone is probably one.
yeah, I have thoughts on the ending of Doctor Stone.
Yeah.
Doctor
Uh,
Stone, Promised Neverland,
we never
and
learn.
Demon
Demon
Slayer.
Slayer.
We never learn
Yeah,
will be one. I want to
yeah.
bring that one up at least. Is Domestic Girlfriend Shonen?
It is indeed shonen,
No,
but we're not talking about that.
no.
No, we
Okay,
No.
have to
so
talk about it. It
no.
fits.
No. We should put some additional ground rules then. What are we defining as shonen? Are we defining it as strictly what magazine it's in, or are we defining it
The
as the genre?
demographic. The demographic.
In that case, I'm pretty sure Domekano isn't like for
It
that
is in a
demographic.
shonen magazine.
It's a shonen magazine, but not every series in a shonen magazine is necessarily a shonen. Like it's. I know it's a bit of a nitpick, but at this point, like we have to establish that shonen means something other than what it means.
I mean,
If you know what I'm saying.
there are some series where shonen is just a branding rather than an actual genre or
And I would
demographic.
say Domestic Girlfriend is more
Probably,
josei than
yeah.
anything else.
Probably, yeah, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to make the point.
Shoujo, yeah.
I wanted to
No,
make the
I
point,
mean
considering that was one that
it's
stumbled
oh yeah, it's garbage fire.
horrifically.
It's a absolute garbage fire. Yes,
Oh, I can attest to that. Yes,
I read that for far too long.
I finished it and I regret it.
I'm so glad I never started it.
I should have listened
Yeah,
again.
You really should have. Should have listened to your
yeah.
instincts of, oh god, this is trash. Why am I reading this?
Yeah, I kind of had that feeling like 3 chapters in, but like
Oh,
I was,
I tried reading. So the thing with that is, I tried reading it once, and I was like, and I just didn't bother continuing. And then I tried it again when the around the time of the anime, and I just blazed through it and caught up to it in like 3 days. And I was like, I couldn't get off at that point. I couldn't leave.
So
I was on that.
there's a trap. There's a trap for the three of us in that series. You know why?
Why?
Main character is an author.
I don't
And
give a
there's
shit.
there's some very major relatable the struggle is real moments in that.
I don't care. You're not getting me near that series. You're getting me near that series before it
Oh,
fucking
I'm
dived
not
into the
trying
ocean.
to. I'm just like. But anyway, this is not the Domikana bashing
Yeah.
podcast yet.
The other
That's
thing
for later.
I think we should establish, when we say ending, what do we mean by ending? Do we mean like the last, like, say, dozen chapters, or do we mean the final arc?
Well,
I think it's gonna have to be a case by case basis
Probably.
because
Yeah.
there's some series where the final arc drags on forever.
Naruto.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
glad
good.
we
We
have
are
the
going to be
same
able to talk
coughing
about
fit.
Naruto. I was
No, we're
wondering.
absolutely gonna bash Nart.
But
Nart and Black
I didn't know.
and-
I didn't know if the if you know, because I would say at the very latest the rot started in the fucking Ninja War arc, and I wasn't sure if that was the final arc or not.
That was the final.
That was
I
the
mean, the
final
Ninja
arc.
War is
Yes.
like divided into multiple different sub arcs, which is insane.
I got to the final arc then. Hooray! Dropped it in the middle of it, but I got that.
Understandable. That's like it drags super hard in the middle.
I just got so bored. I just got so bored. I think I'm trying to remember. I think that might have been because the last volume I remember getting I got for Christmas, and then very possibly, in the new year I started One Piece. If my timing is correct, if my timing is correct, and then I've just never felt like compelled to go back.
Understandable.
So you got a taste of what a good manga was like and realized what you'd been reading thus far.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, to be fair, no. There are parts of Naruto that are actually good, and I enjoyed myself in those parts, but by the time we got to the war arc, I'd stopped enjoying myself.
Honestly, do you know
It's rolling
where...
downhill after Pain.
I think the beginning of the end was Pain. You know why?
Why?
Because that was when it pivoted from an underdog story to a generic chosen one.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I didn't really, like, I can honestly say I think I stopped enjoying stuff after the time skip. Because I remember, I was really, really fucking into the Sasuke retrieval arc pre-time skip.
I was not, because I was not, because even then I was like, just let them take him.
It was less that I wanted them to get Sasuke because I just didn't give a shit about him, and more that I was like really interested in seeing the fights. Like I found all the various fights really cool, and Gaara getting his big damn heroes moment.
Yeah.
Gaara is one of the few decent characters in that series. Yes.
I mean, all of the ones that went on that mission, maybe Naruto aside, I would say are really good. I like Choji. Sue me.
Choji's fine.
Choji's great.
Fine.
I really like Choji.
Choji's one of the better characters. If anything, Kiba is the most nothing character in that series. The only reason he exists is to support his dog.
I was gonna say, but he has a dog.
No, like, he's not the important part. You could give Akamaru to any character in the series, and they would automatically be better than Kiba. Like, Kiba is just like nothing.
I'm almost sad that Insect Boy never had anything to do.
Yeah, he's fun. Also, Naruto just really fucking shortchanged its female characters.
What female characters?
That's nothing new, sadly.
What female characters said Kishimoto?
Okay, so we're getting a little too into bashing the series and not specifically about the endings. So let's talk about why Shonen ends badly. I mean, there's one big reason.
I mean, I would say there's two main reasons. A, it gets rushed too much, or B, the series has just gone on for too fucking long. And it's lost sight of its actual, like, the goal that it started with at the start of the series.
I mean, like, there's even some evidence to back this up in some cases. For example, I dread bringing this up because it's probably one of my most hated series of all time for the sheer wasted potential. Fairy Tail.
Yes, Fairy Tail.
The author went on record saying that it was supposed to end, like in an interview. This is not a Toriyama wanted it to end at Cell or anything. There's on record an interview which is like, yeah, Arc 3 was supposed to be the end, and then the magazine was like, hey, do a few more.
Anti-Lord arc?
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah. When they introduced Iron Dragon Boy, that Metal Dragon Boy was supposed to be the final arc.
I mean, do we also want to talk about Dragon Ball?
I think the thing about Dragon Ball is not... The problem with Dragon Ball was never the ending.
Well, it was a problem of Dragon Ball.
I think all things considered, Dragon Ball ended better than a lot of the other series we're going to talk about on this list.
Absolutely. Let's just get into, we mentioned it briefly, what makes a shonen ending bad, but we could also get into, why they tend to go badly. And I think part of the issue is just, the grindiness of shonen manga publication.
I think it all comes down to a single word. Pacing.
Yes. There are very few shonen manga that are paced super tightly. Most of them are very nuts.
So, and the thing is, it's kind of a risk, isn't it? Because if you pace it too tightly, and then the magazine is like, yeah, we need 500 more chapters of this, then what do you do?
I mean, I think that is the issue with certainly the big series that certainly, the Naruto's, probably the Bleaches.
Absolutely. Well, Black's problem is it got axed.
It did not actually get axed. That is a false rumor that got started because of how abrupt the ending was.
If it didn't get axed, then Kubo is an even more incompetent author than I thought.
The Food Wars as well. The Food Wars as well.
So with Bleach, at least, I believe Kubo wanted to end it at a certain point. I think he just underestimated the amount of chapters he needed to end it properly, so he kind of had to rush himself to get to the ending that he wanted. I think that's what happened. I don't recall precisely.
Yeah, so it's kind of just a combination of factors, but it mostly comes down to the unsustainability of the model.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the thing. If you've seen the schedule that a lot of shonen authors follow in terms of how they write their stuff, it is insane. Most of them don't get more than 4 hours of sleep a night.
I mean, the exception, as always, is Oda, because he has to, he is the only person in the history of manga who has to be forced to take breaks by the magazine.
That man is a workaholic.
He's a machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not a sustainable model, right? Weekly chapters, especially with how bad the workplace experience is for most. Well, I say workplace experience, you know what I mean.
Just recently, we've had both Jujutsu Kaisen and Black Clover go on extended hiatuses because of the author health issues.
Author health issues are depressingly common.
Yeah, because the weekly manga publishing model does not really allow for a lot of rest unless you're Akasaka, the author of Kaguya, who for some fucking reason manages to put out his chapters after 3 days of work and just spends the rest of his time playing Apex.
Look, we don't talk about Kaguya.
Meanwhile, World Trigger fans have to deal with one chapter probably about every 2 months, and Hunter x Hunter fans are gonna die waiting.
I mean, rest in peace, Miura.
Rest in peace, Miura.
Yeah. Okay, what are the chances that, the fact that he was a mangaka contributed to the heart problems?
I
Oh,
mean, the thing that he
absolutely.
died from, I'm fairly sure, is related to stress.
Oh yes, of course. He's like
So,
he was sadly the George R. R. Martin,
mm,
except unlike Gurm, who has reached the point of not caring, which good for him, honestly.
Miura,
Uh,
Miura cared too much. He was a perfectionist when it came to his art.
yeah, and then I mean, he did create one of the most beautiful. In terms of art, in terms of subject material, beautiful is not the word I'd use. Uh,
Mm.
series of all time, but like he did possibly die for it.
Yeah, his work
so,
is
so I,
beautifully illustrated.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I should clarify. I'm fairly sure it was high blood pressure that was, let's say,
Oh
contributing factor,
no!
which is of course a symptom
Oh
of
no!
stress.
Oh
he was
god!
also hypertension.
I think, guys, I think we killed Miura.
You killed Miura. I had nothing to do with it.
I didn't get into Berserk until after he passed.
Look,
All,
I
all
need
I'm
to
guilty of
drag
is
someone
helping.
down with.
All I'm guilty of is helping cripple Tagashi and Ashihara.
I mean, I probably contributed to his health problems, so I've been reading
Look,
that series for
I don't
almost
think
50.
Oda has health problems. I think he like gets health problems when he doesn't work on One Piece for too long.
he
That
starts
might
getting
be it.
withdrawal symptoms.
Right? I think how's Oda gonna survive once One Piece ends?
He's going to
Oh.
make two people, obviously.
I mean, no, he said that the next series he wants to do is going to be in space, and he's already done several space pirate one shots featuring One Piece characters. So there's a non-zero chance that we do get a two-piece in space.
I mean, if fucking
Literally goes to the fucking moon.
yeah, if Eneru never shows up in One Piece again, that's what the fucking space manga is going to be
I'm
about.
still convinced that Uranus is just the moon.
That'd be hilarious.
Anyway, we've
But
gotten
yeah,
off topic again. Um,
I mean,
This is one
One
of
Piece
those episodes where
it
it's going to
hasn't
get off
ended
topic.
yet, so we can't really talk too much about it. I do think it's going to be one of the series that does avert this issue better than most, because Oda is a meticulous planner when it comes to his overall plotting.
I'm pretty
And
sure Oda planned out the ending by the time he was drafting the first one shot.
yeah,
and
he has had the ending planned out from the beginning.
importantly, he's never strayed too far from like the overall goal. It's always felt like every step that Luffy and the Straw Hats have taken is in is to work towards that goal, which is not the case for series like say Naruto.
So you're saying it's all according to Keikaku.
Yes, obviously.
Keikaku means plan, by the way.
Yes, of course, of course.
So yeah, let's talk about some series that have actually ended. You know what? Let's start on a high note because it's going to devolve into ranting anyway.
Okay.
Doctor Stone.
Oh, you liked Doctor Stone's ending?
No, I did not. But it's
Oh.
better than the majority of the.
Oh, I
series we're
thought you
talking
when you
about.
said we were going to start on a high note, we were going to talk about something that actually ended well.
Yeah.
No, we're going to
'Cause I've
talk
got a
about
couple-
things that end poorly. Just it's the best of the bad endings.
I wanted to mention the ones that ended well. They're some of my favorite series.
Okay. Go ahead then.
There are legitimately some shonen manga that have ended quite well.
I mean, that's the two that really come to mind are Assassination Classroom and Haikyuu.
Assassination Classroom
Okay,
is definitely one of them.
I almost forgot about Ass Class. Yeah, Ass Class had a fantastic ending.
Because it knew where it was starting, it knew where it was ending, and never fucking like faltered from that, and was never pushed to go past where it should have fucking ended.
Also, my baby boy did in fact bang.
It's the Gravity Falls of anime.
Yes.
Can we just talk about how Nagisa, even as an adult, remains our adorable baby boy?
Obviously.
Yes.
I'm part of a subreddit
also,
for simply that fact.
And also, like, what do you think their kids are gonna look like?
I don't know.
Adorable little monsters.
Probably.
But yeah,
You know
like,
what, though?
I do find it, like, in hindsight, the author's tentacle fixation was interesting, especially given some of his other works.
Matsui has some weird, like, interests. I'm not even gonna argue that. Some of his...
No, like,
he's a
he
weird
wrote a-
guy. He's a
No,
really
he wrote
weird
a
guy.
really, really problematic one-shot at one point.
That one shot was weird. Elusive Samurai is also quite weird.
Wait, he's the author of Elusive Samurai?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I fucking love it so much.
That explains a lot in hindsight, actually, yeah.
Bring on the murder children. I love it.
I mean, just in general, murder children are quite fun to read.
Especially these ones. But yeah.
Yeah.
But the point... Yeah, Matsui is a very, very weird guy. Very weird.
But yeah.
But damn if he
Aspos
doesn't know
has
how to write a good manga.
Aspos has a very good ending, partially because it stuck to its themes and its characters, and it stayed a largely concise manga overall.
Yeah,
It
set out an ending date from chapter 1, and you know,
it's
stuck to it. Yeah.
Well, it's almost like there's a theme here.
Mm.
Yeah. Another one that also ended extremely well, I think, is Fullmetal Alchemist. Which
same situation. I'm pretty sure it was all planned
from the beginning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, apparently, Arakawa planned out started from the ending and to work her way backwards when writing the plan for the overall series.
So what you're saying is there's a pattern here.
Yeah.
Well,
and
okay.
It turns out it's not that hard to end a shonen properly if you actually, plan.
So here's one that I'm not necessarily sure followed this, which is Haikyuu, because it got to the end of basically the first year, and then did, spoilers, a massive time skip to when they were adults, which didn't necessarily feel planned, considering how abrupt it fucking was, and was potentially the fact that Furodate at the very least wanted to stop writing a weekly manga. If not, I don't think he got tired of the series, because they're still fucking doing illustrations for it every few weeks. They're not leaving it behind at all, but you got the time skip arc, and I think the point was if it had ended without that arc, without that resolution for the characters, then it wouldn't have landed. But the fact is, we got a resolution to the main relationship in the series, which was between Hinata and Kageyama, and very much.
Did they bang?
No, only in our hearts.
Lame.
And we got a nice bookend of Kageyama going to block, Hinata going to spike, but actually it was a fake, because that's what Hinata has learned to do now. But we also got backstory for a bunch of other characters, which really worked well to finish off their arcs as well. I mean, fucking Kageyama's what's the word I'm looking for? Put the entire series before it into a whole new light, and certainly his actions in there. But I think Haikyuu had a really good ending. I've not seen anyone actually say, "Oh no, this is bad." There was certainly a lot of worry when the time skip happened. Of why is this happening? Why didn't we just go in a second year?
Just because there was an abrupt time skip doesn't mean it wasn't planned.
I could be wrong. It's just not something I haven't seen whether it was planned or not. But maybe it was. I don't know. But Haikyuu is one of those where, again, stuck to its themes. It stayed true to its characters more than anything else, and it's a very well regarded ending. unlike some other series.
Let's talk about those other series now.
Yeah. So, do we want to move on to Doctor Stone then?
Unless Jack has anything to add.
Not really at this point. If I remember anything else,
well, I can bring up something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go super old school here. Fist of the North Star had a pretty good ending.
I've heard its ending is pretty good.
Yeah, it's an overall, for a pretty bleak and grim series, it ends up having a pretty happy ending. You know, as much as a post-apocalyptic Mad Max Wasteland can be a happy ending.
I imagine so, yeah.
The thing about Fist of the North Star is it was very episodic. So it never really overstayed its welcome. It was long, but it did have a very clear progression from arc to arc, antagonist to antagonist.
Lasted for 5 years. 27 volumes. How many chapters was that?
I'm assuming 10 volumes or 10 chapters a volume on average.
So
like 300?
Well, 250 to 300 chapters, yeah. Somewhere in that ballpark, I think.
Which is, as we've established, probably optimal length.
245. 245.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of the optimal length for a battle shonen, unless you're Oda.
That's the thing. I would say the optimal length for a series is probably 250 to 350 chapters, somewhere around that ballpark.
That's for a weekly.
A weekly series, yes. Obviously, the monthly ones are shorter.
So probably in terms of volume count, the optimal length would probably be in the ballpark of 20 to 35 volumes. Which I believe S-Class is 22 volumes and FMA is 27.
S-Class is 21. And even then it had
one off.
Yeah. And even then it had to fill its last volume with like bonus chapters to make sure it was a full volume.
That's fun. Yeah, oh, you know what? I didn't talk about Death Note. We can talk about Death Note, right?
You can talk about Death Note.
Okay, so Death Note is an interesting thing because honestly, the series should have ended with the final clash between L and Light, and it did not do that. It dragged on for...
Did it go on for like 5 more arcs?
It went... Like, L died at like 2/3 of the way into the manga.
That seems like an issue.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't he die immediately after a homoerotic foot massage?
Yes.
Oh god, the gay killed him.
No, so the homoerotic foot massage, I believe, was the anime only, but yeah.
Let's be real, it should have been in the manga.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying you're wrong on that regard. I'm just saying, like, in the manga, it didn't happen. But anyways, it drags out for another several volumes, just having quote-unquote L successors, Mellow and Near, trying to corner Light, and eventually, Mellow dies, Near succeeds, and Light ultimately bites it. And I am glad that Light fucking died because he's a prick and he deserved it, but like honestly, it went on for far too long and there was far too much of like ambiguity surrounding Light's well, not ambiguity so much as just Light continuing to be a colossal jackass and it being not fun anymore. So like as much fun as it was that Light finally bit it and died pathetically as he deserved, it really should have happened sooner. So, I think Death Note is a very, very good example of just shows being dragged out for far too long, you know?
At least
And
not
the
too
opposite,
long.
I would argue, is Dr. Stone.
Yeah, that did feel like it rushed in the end.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with
Also,
Doctor Stone is that the final arc didn't really have much of an antagonist that was active in the manga, active during the course of the story. Like, all the other antagonists except for Wyman had already been dealt with, and Wyman was a remote threat.
And then, like, the actual resolution to Y-Man, which had been this, maybe not series-long thing, because I don't think we actually found out properly
well, it
about
was
him
kind
until...
of series long
It's
because,
kind of,
it's
because
the...
obviously, yes, we knew that somebody had done the petrification ray at the very start of the series. We didn't know exactly who that was until, I
Look,
think,
and we all just agree, Lamau, It's Aliens is a cop-out.
That's...
I mean, kind of, but at the same time, like, there was no really other viable
There's no
explanation
other way
because...
to do it, but at the same time, after an entire series of stressing the scientific method, it did feel like a cop-out.
I guess, but at the
So, I
same
mean,
time, like...
again, my issue is that, the idea of Y-Man had been around since the start of the series. Y-Man themselves had been a thing since, what, the Petrification Island?
Yeah. I
Um,
think a little bit before that.
Since the inventor of the radio,
I think it was just before Stone Island.
but, the ending we got was maybe, what, 3-4 chapters of Senku talking to them and then nothing?
And then a quick resolution, yes.
Yeah. It felt
I
sort of rushed getting there, and then once we actually got to the climax, it didn't feel like anything was really fought for, anything was really gained. Well, not gained, but anything.
an anticlimax more than
Yeah.
anything, and not in a good way.
I
Look.
didn't expect a giant space battle or anything, but I at least hoped for, that the whole issue of, oh god, how are they going to come back?
Yeah.
Especially considering,
honestly,
the side series had set up that fucking satellite still being up there and sentient.
All right.
I don't think the spinoff was ever going to really make much of an impact on the canon of the main manga. But look, as much an issue as I take with Doctor Stone's climax, I do think the epilogue is pretty fun and does feel nice.
Yeah, but like it's just like it.
It's a mixed bag of an ending overall, I think, but like it's not nearly as bad as it could have been. There are so many.
I mean, it was very much a non-ending, right?
Mm.
It was a very much an and the adventure continues type thing. Which, like, I wanted to see how Senku would actually build a fucking time machine, okay? How would they go about explaining that? But no, the authors decided to cop out.
The authors got tired of writing a series after, God, how long was it?
I think it was like 4 or 5 years.
5 years exactly. 5 years exactly, because they started in issue 14 of 2017 and ended in issue 14 of 2022.
Oh goddamn, that's impressive.
They ended exactly on their 5th anniversary.
I will.
They were only a day. They were only a day after their exact start date in 2017, because
I will give them points for just the timing there. Yeah, that is kind of impressive.
They started March 6th and they ended March 7th.
Mm.
But yeah, like it's very possible that they did just sort of, get tired, because I imagine that this is a series that takes a lot of work to do in terms of the very least the scientific accuracy.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of they do have a consultant, as we were reminded of in every chapter,
but
it's still a lot.
Like even then, you've got to you've got to consult with them, and you've got to go through probably drafts to make sure that you've got the science and the story right, and then make sure that what the artist is what Boichi is drawing is actually correct, and that sort of thing, and that's going to take time. In a weekly series, that's going to be a lot of work. Maybe it would have.
You also have to make sure Boichi doesn't get distracted drawing everyone's abs.
Mm-hmm.
Or their foreheads.
Or their asses, as the case may be.
Foreheads as well. Foreheads, asses, and abs.
It's a very... One of these things is not like the others.
Yes. The foreheads are definitely standouts.
But yeah, basically, it just kind of feels like... I don't want to say they gave up, because that's too much of a negative connotation.
Mm.
But they were like, okay, fine, this is the best way to do it. Let's just
I think
get
they
it over with.
They were probably just tired.
I think they were tired, and I think they realized, look, I'm not sure anything we can really do with this sort of climax, with this final villain, is ever going to be fully satisfying. So we should just make they probably, in terms of villains, they peaked at Stanley and Zeno.
And they were good villains.
Yeah. Because again, they were for the first time you had somebody who was actually able to threaten Senku intellectually.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the machine gun.
I mean, you also had something that could very much threaten Senku physically. But, they've been having that since Tsukasa.
Convinced Zeno and Stanley were banging.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, definitely.
There is no way they were not banging.
Dude, the way they touched each other's faces in that one chapter was just, very homoerotic.
But yeah, so Dark Stone is an example that probably just ended... I don't think it ended, way too fast, but it did end... It was too fast, but not to a significant degree.
It wasn't that it was too short. It's that the pacing was too fast.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Arcs was pretty good, but the final arc was just yeah.
Also, there was just a lot of off-screen time skips.
Mm.
Yeah, they don't really talk about it too much either.
I think the issue might have just been that they realized it would be a lot of the same thing of collecting materials, making the thing, and okay, we just need to skip to having them having made it. Otherwise, it's gonna be very, very samey.
I don't know. They spent 5 years on the rocket.
Mm.
Yeah, they did,
and they covered that 5 years over the course of 2 or 3 chapters.
Yeah. Again, we are talking about, something in the final arc, and while it would have been interesting to see them make the rocket, there would have been a lot of resource gathering, which we've seen. Would have been a lot of trial and error, which, while, academically interesting, probably wouldn't be that interesting in terms of a manga story. So they focused more on, the story of, who's going to actually go up. And then there was that big to-do about...
survive?
Yeah. Which, again, that's where I think the cop-out comes is, there was this big whole thing of, will they manage to come back? Will they survive coming back? And then it was just, they came back.
I think the last satisfying bit of the story was, beyond maybe the epilogue, was Ryusei giving up his seats on the spaceship because he felt like he wasn't the best choice.
And then he was just there anyway. Then he was just there anyway.
Yeah, no.
Yes. I mean, it was kind of funny that it actually happened like that, but at the same time, it is a cop-out.
Yeah. I do think Dogstone is still a very good series, and the ending does not.
It's still a better series than like 90% of Shonen.
And in the end, I don't think the ending diminishes it that much.
It does not.
It's it is certainly disappointing, but it's not a series ruiner the way that some other endings are.
Speaking of which, let's get into Shokugeki no Soma.
I'm gonna leave this to you guys because I've stayed away from that trash fire.
It was good until the end of Central.
Honestly, no, the end of Central was still pretty good.
No, that's what I mean. Central, the ending at Central was good. I liked the entirety of Central, even if it did, take a little bit of suspension of disbelief at times. It's the fact that they went past that was dumb. So very dumb.
Look, Central is kind of a pain to read week to week, but it's still a pretty good stretch of the story. The entire last saga of the manga, though, is just so bad.
What was it, the Blue Arc?
The Blue Arc, yeah.
Yeah, that was so pointless. And here's the other thing.
All the dark shit is just so dumb and weird, and especially with Asahi just being this fucking ridiculous main antagonist, and also inexplicably ridiculously competent.
I mean, that's the thing. Every other chef before that, we'd been given reasons for why they were good.
Yeah, like they were elite chefs who had trained all their lives, or they were explicitly prodigies.
And even the most ridiculous ones, there was some element of truth to them.
Asahi just has straight up superpowers.
Yeah. Not to mention, he made out with his sister.
He didn't make out with her. He tried to make out with her.
Which is same thing.
Make it better. In fact, that makes it worse because it's like more rapey that way.
Yeah, she never showed any interest in him whatsoever.
Good.
So
I wouldn't have expected her to. But yeah, and the worst thing is, I have gone back and read the epilogue.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, no, I've reread Food Wars since. I like Food Wars. It's trashy as fuck, but it's enjoyable. I like the characters. I like the concept. The villains could do with some work because fucking
Nazis.
Yeah. What's face? Erina? Am I?
Erina.
Yeah, Erina. Erina's dad. Not great. As I said, his plan required some suspension of disbelief, because why the fuck would he not just expel the troublemakers?
Well, also, like, a lot of his plan relied on a lot of assumptions about how the larger world worked.
Yeah. But I eventually went back and reread, or not reread because I hadn't read them before. I read basically the 4 epilogue chapters, which are the point 1, 2, 3, and 4 after the final one.
Proper. I thought there was only 3 of those.
No, there's 4.
Okay.
And that's a good ending. That's a really nice ending. I liked it. It shows you where everyone ended up, and it shows that, people end up together, they end up still friends, and, still eating at Soma's restaurant at Yukihira's. That was a good ending. Why could they not just have that happen after Central? What would have changed? Nothing. Nothing would have changed. Nothing changed as a result of fucking the Blue Arc, other than that Asahi was suddenly a thing in the universe.
Yeah.
And again, it's a an example of a series going on far longer than it should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, to be fair, there's never really an example of a series like that not going on for too long. I think food shonen tends to has that tendency. The reason I say this is because probably my favorite food shonen of all time, and the series that's like probably started the ball rolling for a lot of things. Yakutate Japan.
I thought you were going to bring that one up.
It's a great series, and honestly, it's less trashy because it doesn't just rely on, like, okay, you want me to be honest with you? The reactions in that are 100 times better because they actually try.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, everyone, their clothes fall off and they have an orgasm. They actually have, like, very creative or, like, gag referential sort of deals, and it's like...
Okay, that tells me that I have never read Food Wars, because the food reactions can get really wild, and they do not always rely on fan service.
Do any of the reactions feature the taster literally going back in time to bring his dead mother back to life?
Not quite that far, no.
Yes, no, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about.
And at least you can say about Food Wars, it did equal opportunity fan service with that.
Yeah, they were not just the ladies getting naked; it was the guys too.
Of course, because as we've established, there's somehow no greater source of homoerotic subtext than shonen manga.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, no. In hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. Not if you think about it for like 2 seconds. Like from the days of
male.
Yeah, from the days of Goku and Vegeta, it's kind of been established that they banging.
Mm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Goku's probably had more physical contact with, like, canonically, he's probably had more physical contact with Vegeta than his own wife.
You know what? I would not be surprised.
I mean, he apparently has never kissed his wife, so that's canon. The fact that that's canon is just depressing.
Mm.
Let's not go too much into Super, but
actually, yeah, because it hasn't actually fucking ended.
Yeah, Super has. Well, the first run of the anime has, and for now, that is the technical ending of the story until we get more of it.
That's the ending of the anime, but the manga is still going, and that's, that is canonical. It followed the. I'm fairly sure it followed the anime and has now gone past it.
Yeah. Well,
and,
no, it didn't follow the anime per se. It was very different at points.
But it did start getting into the Broly stuff.
Not to mention, we are talking about manga rather than anime.
Yes.
I don't necessarily have to, but the thing is, there's like so few anime-only shonen that it's like a moot point.
Yeah.
I mean, I would disagree, because we've gotten so many good fucking anime originals recently, in the last few years.
I don't trust anime originals to not go the way that stars align.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to engage with anime originals until and unless there's absolute proof that it's like gonna end.
Poor Stars Align. Still the worst blue ball in the history of anime, I think. You cannot end a series with the main character holding a knife outside of his abusive dad's door. You can't.
Is that where that ended?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, good lord.
Right after the other main character had been disowned. That's how Stars Align ended.
They didn't even bang yet.
I mean, they were like 14. I'd hope they hadn't.
You know that I don't necessarily mean literally. They can bang emotionally.
I mean, they did. The staff, or certainly the writer behind it or director, whatever. The people behind it did release like a little thing showing where they were, like, I think maybe 2-3 years after the series, after the end of the anime. But that just made things worse. Juvie? It's implied that Maki was in Juvie for a little while. Maybe. I can't remember. It was not very clear, and it was all in Japanese with no translations. So I had to.
I'm sure you can find translation somewhere.
I did find translations, but it was a while ago because every time I check it, I get depressed.
No, that's fair.
I want more of it. I'm sad I'll never get that.
Okay. Anime original shonen endings. You want to go another positive, somewhat positive one? Sarazanmai.
Yeah.
Yeah,
AKA
Sarah's
the
on
one
my
that you really wanted to kill until episode 6, in which point you fell in love with it.
Was it 6 or 5?
Because episode
Oh,
6 was the
yeah.
episode, yeah.
Yeah, because it stopped doing the same fucking thing after every episode. It actually tried something new.
You have to give it some time to get past the weekly. Do you know what the weekly thing is for? It's there to make you lower your guard.
Very possibly. And it probably worked on me, but still. They did the same fucking thing like 4 weeks in a row. And while it was nice, and I enjoyed it, it still wasn't great.
Just admit that you enjoyed the butt stuff and the drugs.
Of course I did. It's butt stuff drugs. And I now know that, the voice actors involved, who I obviously can't remember off the top of my head. I know one of them was Murase. I think Kazuki was Murase.
Anyways.
Toei Koki Uchiyama, Ensa Shunhori, Kazuki Murase. Well, that's a really fucking good main trio of voice actors.
I think we're getting off track again.
We are getting off track, but yeah.
So, shall we? I think we've been putting off the garbage fires for too long.
Well, let's start.
We did talk about Food
our way
Wars.
into hell.
We did talk about Food Wars.
That was send our way into hell. Starting with a bearable ending. Demon Slayer.
So,
okay.
Here's the thing with Demon Slayer. Its ending is as a result of the series as a whole, which to an extent is the fact that, it's both too fast and too slow. Its individual arcs, like the pacing of them, is just too slow, especially in the latter half. Whereas the series as a whole is far, far too fast, because it was only like 180 fucking chapters. Which is nothing for a fucking battle shonen.
It was just
Shonen Jump battle shonen.
205. 205, sorry. 205. What was the 180 one that I was thinking of? I think that might have been Promised Neverland, which we will get to as well. But yeah, I mean that's the thing,
Ascot was like 180-ish chapters.
Yeah, but S-Class wasn't a fucking battle shonen.
You're right.
It was a non-standard battle shonen. I think it's important to remember that the battles in a battle shonen are not necessarily battles.
I would argue that S-Class is more of a character shonen, if that's a thing.
It's really not, sadly.
Well, maybe S-Class can be the one in the genre then.
It would be the one and only one in the genre then.
Whatever. I don't fucking care.
Anyways, Demon Slayer.
Yeah. But yeah, yes, the ending is not great, but the cracks were showing a lot earlier, I would say. I would say as early as... Maybe not necessarily Entertainment District Arc, but certainly Swordsmith Village.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole every character has a tragic backstory that they only tell you once they're dead is just kind of meh.
I mean, that obviously started... That started way earlier. That started near the start of the series, but it started getting really insufferable in the fucking Entertainment District Arc.
Honestly, I really wish that the author gave the demon backstories well before they were fought. Or at least early on in the fight, rather than right as they were already defeated.
Yeah.
Because it just gets tiresome at that point.
Again, it's the pacing of the fights. Entertainment District arc fucking way too long for villains that are not interesting. Swordsmith Village, certainly I felt reading the volumes dragged, because that went a good 2 to 3 volumes, I think, in the end. And then you've got the fucking mess that was the final arc, which was just battle after battle after battle.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
There's ways to do battle after battle after. I mean, again, we cite One Piece because,
I mean, some of the I do feel like most of the the three highest upper moons, I think, were good battles on their own.
They
But the
were
final
good
fight
battles,
against
but they were also extreme cop-out battles. Because literally the main characters didn't win. They talked them to death.
well, no, upper two at least got defeated because Shinobu thought of everything. So that one wasn't a cop out.
I don't get me started on Shinobu. I just
won't.
No, it's like Shinobu deserved better.
She did. Anyways, yeah, no, I feel like the one with the worst one though was the final fight against Muzan, which dragged up for way too fucking long and was a lot more generic because unlike the upper moons, he didn't have
really
any
made
techniques.
Muzan too powerful.
Well, not just that, they made him too powerful, but they didn't make his powerfulness interesting.
Yes, that's the thing. He's just like
techniques.
Yeah, he just is faster and stronger than everyone else. That's literally it. Yeah, it's the most boring kind of powerful.
And honestly, as a character, was he that interesting?
Not even remotely, no.
Certainly not. Certainly not enough to span 3 fucking volumes in terms of a fight.
The only interesting thing about Muzan was his fashion sense.
Oh yeah.
It's not easy to pull off the Michael Jackson look. He was a dick, but he was dapper as all hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even that kind of goes away during the final fight where he's just mostly naked with something weird over his lower body.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't.
White hair or some shit.
I don't remember the exact chapter.
Can we just talk about the fact that Yushiro has the most depressing ending?
Yeah.
Which one?
He's just forever. His entire ending is
forever
that he
alone.
Literally, because he's immortal and has to be alone for his entire existence.
Oh, the simp.
Yes, but we like him because let's be real.
Simp is not necessarily negative.
It
has negative connotations.
It has inherently negative connotations, yeah.
Well, I'm taking it back.
Are we reclaiming simp now?
Yes.
Wait, I actually don't think we're allowed to say that on Twitch.
That's only Twitch chats.
I thought. No, streamers cannot refer to a real person as a simp, I think.
Well, we're not referring to a real person as a simp.
Yes, no, but that's why. Yeah, I was confused for a second. But no. Also, can we talk about the fact that I know there's some precedent in folklore, but it's a little bit weird that the couples were all reincarnated as siblings.
All of them. Mitsuru and Obanai were reincarnated as a couple.
That's because they were low-key one of the best couples in that series. It's because it was a relatively equal distribution of power, i.e. the girl in that was not tied up in a box.
Oh god.
For the entire series.
And then when she was finally able to get out of the box, she was sidelined. And did next to nothing in the final arc.
I really wish the author did more with Nezuko in the final arc.
Yeah.
I really do. But you know what? I think part of the reason that most of the couples got reincarnated as siblings is because they got reincarnated. Their descendants are reincarnations of them.
It doesn't make it any better. Again, like, there's some precedent in folklore, but that's only for star-crossed lovers. If anything, Snake Boy and Strong Girl should have been the only ones who reincarnated as siblings, because they were the only real star-crossed lovers in that scenario.
Yeah, but having them reincarnated as an actual couple makes it so they have a second chance.
It gives
to
them a
actually
happy
live
ending,
it up
yes.
together. Yeah, the other couples actually got a happy ending, to my knowledge.
Much to my regret, in the case of some individuals.
Yes,
Look,
understandably.
I will not deny that Zenitsu had good character development.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean I'm comfortable with him, like, banging Nezuko.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when his character is the way it is.
I'm fairly sure we discussed this at length in our Demon Slayer podcast.
But yeah, long story short, no.
Which,
no.
Let me just check something. Okay, no, it didn't get a dislike. I wondered if it had. Something got a dislike on YouTube, I mean.
Which is honestly kind of flattering.
That's right. It was our anime tier list, Jack, where we ranked protagonists and openings. So it's very possible.
On Titan stands.
I was gonna say it's very possible it's an angry Attack on Titan fan.
Yeah,
we dump Eren in the fucking dirt where he belongs. By the way, should we talk about Attack on Titan?
Oh yeah, we really should, shouldn't we?
Good transition. Because this is your forte. Why don't you go off on your rant?
I mean, here's the thing. It's questionable. It depends what you consider, whether you consider final arc or final, I guess, saga.
I think it went downhill from when they got the reveal about the whole.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
Basement, yeah.
So I mean, the beginning of the end was 100%, and we will obviously go into more detail when we do our Attack on Titan roast, which we will do. Trust me, we will do it.
Coming.
It's coming.
None of us are comfortable in leaving that unroasted.
Yeah.
It's very unhygienic.
As well as Naruto and Bleach, those are also getting roasts at some point.
I'm sorry, Black is I think what you mean.
That's the one that I'm not going to be involved in because I've not touched Bleach and probably won't touch Bleach.
Well,
okay. I will say this.
I think Kaido has done it, so we'll have him as
I can actually say one thing that I might recommend. You might enjoy kind of just looking through the wiki at some of the powers, because some of the powers are really neat, right? Like the magic system and the art and like everything but the story really is good about Bleach. It's just ruined by the story and the characters.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes.
Conceptually, it's really cool.
Yeah. So because it took didn't it like ape the concept of Yu Yu Hakusho?
It started that way, but it did branch out to some pretty interesting places in terms of the power system.
The issue with Bleach is that there was a lot of rehashing on various arc components. Like, Hueco Mundo is almost a one-for-one rehash of Soul Society.
It's even worse than that, because Soul Society had some really interesting... If you watch the Super Eye Patch Wolf video on it, Soul Society had some really neat, like good writing. Yeah, it had themes.
Not to get into anything on stream, but I'm not feeling the kindest towards Super Eye Patch Wolf. I will talk about it more when we you
really should have mentioned that.
It's fine, but I'll go into it off stream. It's not like a big thing. I'm just like sort of But anyway, back to Attack on Titan. So the start of the decline was 100% when fucking Armin was saved over Erwin.
Yeah.
For no reason other than, oh, hey, Armin's good at strategy and he's our friend. Is he good at strategy? I don't think the series ever really showed that.
Yeah, all they showed Armin was as the smartest of the trio, and that's not very high of a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the smartest member of that trio being Armin really tells you something about the quality of that trio in general.
I mean,
Yeah, no.
there's ways you can do that to an extent, because hey, Megami's the smartest of the Jujutsu Kaisen trio by quite a long way, but you know that doesn't mean that Nobara and Yuji aren't good characters. They're fucking idiots,
Look,
but they're good.
No,
we
there's
have
it's
Yuji
basically the difference between the
Himbo's
lovable
story.
idiot. It's the difference between the lovable idiots and just idiots who are frustrating.
Yeah,
Look, Megami is sandwiched between Yuji, Himbo, Itatori, and Nobara,
chaos
Port Impulse
incarnate.
Control. Yeah. Uh, yeah,
To
no.
be fair, Nobara's probably pretty smart. She just finds it funner to be chaos.
Yes.
To be unthinking
Yeah.
chaos. Not to mention, she loses about like 90% of her brain cells when she's within 10 feet of Yuji.
And
Yeah,
Gojo.
because,
To be fair,
it's a feedback.
let's give Gojo the credit that he's due.
Yeah.
But Akutami
he
asked me not to.
Look, Akutami doesn't get to say anything about Gojo. Shonen Jump won't let him.
No, Shonen Jump keeps trying to get him to mention, keeps trying to get Akutami to mention him, and Akutami keeps like fucking doing the bare minimum. Because do you remember the
I remember
the
the
movie tie-in
yes.
chapter where it was like, legally I have to include him at the behest of like Shueisha. So here's this fucking YouTube ad you can skip.
No,
Oh my god.
Here's the thing. I think the series as a whole is probably better because of Akutami's irrational hatred for Gojo.
Yeah, because it means he doesn't constantly shill Gojo.
Yeah.
And yeah, because like the Uber character, when the author is just constantly just sucking his dick, is not fun.
Oh yeah, no, it can go horribly wrong, and Akutami is one of the very few good examples of an author writing that character well.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, back to Attack on Titan, because we're talking about bad series right now.
Of course, yes.
And Jujutsu Kaisen is a good one, and I look forward to tomorrow's chapter. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I read last week's chapter. I'm gonna have
to. There wasn't a chapter last week because it was Golden Week.
Oh, okay, good. I'm not behind at all.
So Attack on Titan. So yeah, it started going downhill when they saved Armin. Then they had the time skip, which was such a horrible idea. The time skip was the worst idea in that series. Because
it was really fucking jarring too.
Because it was incredibly jarring, and it moved our characters, like 4 years into the future?
4 years, yep.
Which is a very significant distance, and then it had, like, big characters change personality significantly.
Yeah.
With no explanation. Because of the time skip.
In hindsight, right? We maybe should have realized something was wrong when you realized that all of the protagonists were named after Nazis.
Wait, what?
Erwin Rommel and, like, I think there were some Confederate guys as well. Like, the good guys were consistently named after characters who were on the wrong... individuals who were on the wrong side of history.
Look, I can get naming a morally ambiguous general character after Erwin Rommel just because he's well known for being a very brilliant strategist and relatively not awful by Nazi standards, but still, like, that's a pattern if it's more than just him.
Yes, it's like there's a lot of that going around. Which is the issue.
Characters were named after people on the wrong side of history. So you're saying if Attack on Titan had gone long enough, there would have been a character called Rowling?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
But yes, so they went into a 4-year time skip, which was incredibly poorly planned out. Because I got a good I would say 2.5 chapters into the time skip, and obviously these are monthly chapters, so these are big chapters. 2.5 chapters, which is about half a volume's worth, before I realized that, hey, we've skipped 4 years into the fucking future.
That's never a good thing, is it?
Yeah. But yeah, so, it changed, at the very least, it changed Aaron's personality significantly with no explanation to it. So you're confused about that. Then he starts being a fucking villainous jackass, and you're completely confused. And then it ping-ponged between treating Eren as the arch hero or as the arch villain. I'm not sure Isayama ever really, was sure how he wanted.
Simultaneously Jesus and Hitler.
Yeah, he was. I don't think he was ever really sure how he wanted to properly portray Eren. Because even when it seemed like he made the decision, okay, Eren is the villain here. He's killed, spoiler warning, 80% of the world's population. I'm gonna have this bit with Armin to show that he's actually not that bad of a guy. He was doing this all for the sake of his friends. He's a good guy, you see. He killed 80% of the people on the planet, but he's a good guy.
He deserves a little genocide, like, as a treat.
But yeah, redeeming your main character who killed, or trying to redeem your main character who killed 80% of the world's population. That's a bad way to go, pal. Really bad way to go. You don't also redeem genocides.
Didn't Mikasa at one point make out with his severed head?
Yes.
Yes, she did.
Yep. That really should tell you all you need to know about that series.
Well, here's another thing about the series. Eren has now got a figure of him coming out of the shower where you can actually switch dicks from flaccid to erect.
Oh my god.
I don't know why. I don't know who asked for this, but it's a thing.
Wait, but okay, you're gonna have to elaborate on that.
What can I elaborate? Check Ludes. Check Ludes. That's where I posted it about it. There is not much more I can elaborate on this. It's a thing. It's a thing that exists, and I don't know why.
I feel like we're getting sidetracked again.
We are getting sidetracked again.
Okay, but like the ending basically did end on like.
As I said, it tried to redeem the man who caused genocide. Hitler. Yeah, and like
it just made Eren out to be just like
this tragic hero character, which he wasn't. He's not a hero.
Not just that. There was also the whole bit of him being frustrated by his own lack of ability to hook up with Mikasa and not wanting her to move on from him.
Yeah, that's not great.
Which is just so fucking awful.
I mean, that's incel behavior.
Despite the fact that he spent the entirety of the series explicitly denying her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, there was also that whole time travel junk, which I feel was badly set up. Other people disagree. I think it was bullshit.
I mean, it was foreshadowed, but at the same time, like, it's a really, really wonky plot device and really tricky to pull off, and I don't think it worked well.
So yeah, again, we'll get into more detail on this
during our roast of Attack on Titan.
Probably won't go as long as the Harry Potter one, but we'll still manage 2 hours, I'm sure.
Oh, easily. But yeah,
so other series. Do we want to move on to, let's say, Promised Neverland?
Sure. Promised Neverland is kind of a tough one because on the one hand, the ending wasn't terrible, but on the other hand, like
it's another one that rushed, I think, its final arc.
Yes, and the weird thing is the final arc was really long.
And I think one of the biggest issues with the ending is that it kind of like.
Well, when I say it rushed its final arc, we should point out that as bad as the manga was, the anime was worse.
We do not speak of the second
What are
season
you
of
talking
the
about?
anime.
Didn't the anime get axed after only a season?
Yeah, no, it's weird.
It might
It's
as
weird.
well have. Might as well have.
What do you mean it might as well have? It definitely did. There definitely was not a second season of that anime. And
But
there's
yeah,
nothing you
like
can say to convince me otherwise.
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've actually reread the second half of Promised Neverland. Because what I always reread most is fucking Goldie Pond because that was
Good shit.
that good
Golden
shit.
Pond was kind of where the series.
It's where it peaked. It's where it peaked for sure.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but like it kind of is.
There was some good stuff after Goldie Pond, but I don't think it ever got to those highs again.
You know what I'm upset about in particular?
Yeah.
But
We never got hard confirmation that Sanju and Musika banged, and that's just sad.
you're very obsessed with the characters banging, Fuzzy.
Okay, so actually no,
necess-
I remembered what it was that I was meaning when I said it was too quick. The actual like meta pacing of the arc wasn't too quick. It was the in-story pacing. Because Norman went from wanting to genocide all the demons to
yeah, he did. Yeah, Norman got done dirty. He kind of went through like several stages of character assassination.
Norman's character arc after his return was just all over the fucking place.
I mean, what I will say is that that reuniting of Ray, Emma, and Norman is still one of the best moments of the series. It's just the stuff after it that sort of went a bit downhill.
Also, is no one else going to talk about the fact that
if it's about banging, no, we're not.
Head. What
really, besides all the other stuff that what really grinds my gears is yet another example of the classic trope of redemption equals death, which will always piss me off. Like,
it did subvert that in one case.
What?
With the sister of the queen, or the brother of the queen, the what's his face?
Oh, yeah. Lovis. Lovis,
yeah.
Whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, him coming back was pretty fun.
Yeah, he was like he had the signs of being like a pretty decent, like, as demons go. He was probably like one step below Sanju.
Yeah.
Well, his thing, he was fine. He was fine hunting and killing humans. He wasn't doing it for the pleasure of torturing a kid and eating them. He was just doing it for a challenge.
Yeah, he was like,
which is pretty typical Shonen fare. Which is pretty typical Shonen fare, which we can accept. We've gotten to the point where we accept that character archetype as a potential good guy.
Some of the best characters in like Shonen history are Blood Knights.
Yes.
And like not in a bad way. Like some of the like most decent human beings in Shonen are the fight obsessed ones.
Zoro and Luffy.
Yeah. Zoro and Luffy are absolutely Blood Knights, but they're kind of just like really cool dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Isabella's whole redemption equals death thing, it really grinds my gears. I really hate that trope.
That's a list of people you could have been talking about there.
No. I hate redemption equals death in general, but like it felt like the authors just set up a very specific scenario just to kill off Isabella, which is
literally it was just there was no plot reason for her to die.
There was no reason for it to happen. It was like
and it was incredibly contrived.
Yeah. I just don't like that trope in general, but I really dislike the utilization of it here because it just came out right the fuck out of nowhere and it made no real sense to the narrative.
The other thing is, was the whole Emma losing her memory thing really that necessary?
It was not, because it didn't make any difference.
Obviously.
Well, yeah, but it made no difference in the long term. Because she didn't really lose her memories, let's be real.
Mm,
Like, she
honestly,
started remembering, and then, like, they found her, and it was...
I just feel like the whole memory thing was unnecessary.
It was just completely... It was, like, 100% was unnecessary.
Hmm. They just did it because they wanted to show, like, oh, making a deal with what's his face always comes across.
They wanted to have consequences without having consequences.
Mm.
Like, that's
They
what it
wanted to
was.
have they wanted to have the mildest possible consequences.
They wanted to have
Well,
their cake
no.
and eat it too.
Here's
Basically.
the thing: they wanted to have consequences, but they also wanted to end the manga on a heartwarming note, which is sort of at odds. Is the issue?
Yeah, these things. Those are mutually exclusive.
They could have
Really,
either ended bittersweetly or they could have ended heartwarmingly. They didn't get to have both.
yes. I mean, if they wanted to do the whole Isabella dying thing, they could have had her take a sacrifice in Emma's place, and that would have made sense.
Mm.
Right?
But nope.
That
No.
would have been a much more satisfying conclusion.
Mm.
Yeah. Like, oh, you will give your life so that your friends can travel to the other side, and Isabella takes Emma's place. That would be interesting, but no, it's like just random demon pops out of nowhere, and
Literally,
Isabella.
they had an armed guards everywhere. Like, the only way in story that makes sense is if someone intentionally let the demon through several layers of machine guns.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
But moving on from Promised Neverland, did either of you get to the end of Seven Deadly Sins?
Yeah.
Sadly, yes.
So have fun talking about that because I'm willing to bet that didn't end well.
Okay,
That
it's not that it didn't end well. It's that it stopped being good after around the end of the first arc.
It,
Like,
it had
legit.
its ups and
What
downs.
would you class
Like,
the end of the
the
first
introduction
arc?
of Escanor was really fucking good.
The dude, what's his face, with the silver hair, that, like, the end of the Kingdom arc, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that bit.
The end of the
No,
first season. Then.
Honestly,
Yes,
like,
the end of
there's
the
some
first
good.
season of the anime.
There's
That was
still
honestly where the series peaked.
there was still some pretty damn good stuff afterwards, especially like everything involving Escanor for most of the series was really fun.
Escanor, I cannot talk about Escanor without my blood pressure going up, because he is
He got done
possibly
dirty,
one
yeah.
of the single most shafted anime protagonists in the history of shafted anime protagonists. Like,
He got really fucking done dirty.
and
Like,
what's worse is that everyone else in the series got a happy ending. Literally everyone else in the series.
yeah, that's fucked up. I had no idea why the hell the author felt it necessary to kill off Escanor
Do you think
either.
it's like a Gojo thing?
It might have been that, yeah. Might have just been because they had no idea how to write the final fight with Escanor in it. Which is fucking dumb.
Mm.
There are more inventive. They could have just fucking depowered Escanor at that point. It would have made sense. It's like, your power is killing you, we have to depower you. Because that's what was fucking happening. His power was killing him. And it's like, okay, you have to get depowered. Because otherwise you're gonna die.
And, like, he died for no reason as well. And the person who killed him got arguably the happiest ending.
Okay.
Wasn't Zeldris body jacked at the time?
Huh?
I thought Zeldris was body jacked at the time.
No, literally the direct cause of his death was Merlin.
Oh, right.
Because, get this, the character who got one of the happier endings in the series is the one who made sure the series didn't end. Because there was supposed to, once they killed the Demon King, the series was supposed to end. But then Merlin explicitly was like, hey, I'm just like, make you curse her again. She literally cursed Elizabeth the second time.
Any
I don't
reason
After the
why?
curse was lifted.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, she did. Or rather, she prevented both curses from lifting. After the death, which was supposed.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
no,
that.
there's a whole thing.
I'm not going back to reread that. I'm
Is
not
there
going
is
to
there a
fucking bother.
particular reason for that, or
She wanted to make King Arthur something. She wanted King Arthur to happen for some reason.
Also, there's way too many fucking final bosses. It's like the final arc just does not fucking end because like, oh, this guy's the final villain. No, this guy's the final villain. No, this guy's the final villain. And it just goes on and on and on for like 5 volumes or some shit.
Ugh.
It's fucking exhausting.
so while I'm searching for more series to talk about, Jack, do you want to talk about We Never Learn?
We never
Oh.
learn. Fuzzy, I know you hated We Never Learn, and I won't discount your feelings on the matter, but We Never Learn was an odd one because it went with a visual novel ending. And what I mean by that is it had a different ending for each heroine.
Basically, it was cop out to the ending.
Yes.
It's because it had the arguably the single most cowardly ending you can have for a harem series.
No. The single most cowardly ending you can have is to just have no resolution whatsoever.
No. Even though I think that's less cowardly, that's more just milking it, right? Like I can respect that because at least they're not like being hypocritical.
No, actually, a more cowardly one is setting up the possibility of a harem ending, building up to it, and then fucking copping out of that and having the main hero choose a single hero.
Don't remind me of that series. I really don't want to remember that series.
What series is that?
I don't blame. Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs.
Ah, that was also on the list.
Yes. I was actually, I had read like a good chunk of the way in, and I was considering reading the rest of it, but I heard about the ending and was like, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm just not going to bother.
Because, like, yeah, that's the... Okay, I take it back. That is the most cowardly possible ending for that. I agree.
Yeah. No. Like, I have my gripes with We Never Learn, but I do think, like, the different endings with the heroines, most of them were actually not too bad. I didn't bother reading the teacher one. I never liked her as a romance option, but...
It's just the fact that it's a cop-out is what's irritating.
I get that. At the same time, though, like, yeah, I kind of get it. I wish more harem series would just
have a harem ending.
Polyamory is a viable option. Yeah,
especially because in a lot of harem ending, they spend just as much, if not more, time on the subtext between the girls than they do with the male lead. Because usually the girls are actual characters. Unlike the male lead, who is a blank slate self-insert.
I mean, I find that the best harem series are usually ones that have a combination of that and of pre-existing or proper relationships between the girls, and ones that have a male lead with actual personality.
You're asking for unicorns, Jack.
I know a handful of series that do fit that bill.
I agree. They do exist.
They're just not common.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah,
which, I mean, it's kind of our fault for asking for quality from an inherently sort of trashy genre. Because let's be real. Let's be real. I don't think any authors of those particular series are in it for the quality of the writing, if you know what I'm saying.
I mean, some actually put in a surprising amount of effort into writing the plots of the story. Like, you get
but
all
most of them just focus on the plot, if you know what I'm saying.
There's the plot and there's the plot. And some authors are much more focused on the latter than the former. The exclusion of the former, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's usually to the exclusion of the former.
But if we're going to talk about harem shonen series, we should probably talk about Nisekoi.
Go for it.
AKA the
Because
series that set Tsundere's back by about 4 billion years.
yeah, because Shitoge is the fucking worst. The only girl that's worse than her is the yandere.
Tofu's
Also,
gonna
didn't she
come.
win?
Tofu's gonna come with
Yeah,
comfier knees after
Shitoge.
this.
I don't fucking care. Shitoge, Shitoge won, yes. Which, like, shocker, I know. She was the main heroine from the beginning,
Wait,
basically.
you mean the Tsundere won?
I know, shocker, right?
That's never happened before. No, but like,
Look, there was even another Tsundere in the series, and she was better than Shitoge. Like, it was really hard to be a worse character than her. Like, and the weird thing is, the series basically spent its final stretch getting all but Onodera and Shitoge basically eliminated from contention, and then spent like several chapters like making it like, oh, it's going to be a big choice between these two. And it's like, it was fucking not.
they
Don't
didn't
fucking
even.
lie.
After a certain point, they didn't even try and frame it that way, did they?
No, it's like, how do you even try to bullshit like that? Why would you even bother?
Money. Insert
Yeah.
Mr. Crab here.
Yes.
Mr. Krabs. Look, it's been a while.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. Wordle has taught me as much.
Boy, I'm glad I don't do Wordle.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
fun.
taking a break from it for now.
It's fun. Like, yeah, the problem is if you take it too seriously. If you take it too seriously, nothing isn't fun.
Mm-hmm. Anyways,
Try to think of other series.
we
Fire
haven't
Force.
talked much about
We've been
Naruto.
putting it off. We need to talk about the 3 elephants in the room.
All right.
Let's start with Naruto.
All right, Naruto.
It is.
So
yes.
here's the thing. I never got to the ending, so I'm not sure how much I can contribute.
I mean, you've already mentioned your fatigue with the final arc so much that you dropped it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
really,
it was boring as sin.
So, okay. The biggest issue, okay, there's a lot of issues. But the one that stood out to me the most is when did it just suddenly randomly transition to the tale of Princess Kaguya?
Mm.
And then it stayed that way for the entirety of Bort. Like, I don't know why. Like, Kishimoto was just like, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna, like, cop out into folklore. And it's not even in a competent way.
Yeah, I never really bothered with Boruto, so I'm not gonna touch on that.
No, like, even without Bort involved, like, the final boss was just was just a character introduced to be the final boss. It was literally it.
Yeah, no. I think she was introduced largely just because, like, the author didn't know how to get rid of Madara without pulling something out of his ass.
And funnily enough, his solution to that was pulling something out of his ass that was even more egregiously an ass pull than Madara.
Mm-hmm. Also, like, before the very final fight and the epilogue, the last high point of the series was Guy beating the absolute shit out of Madara.
That's the one thing I'm
Honestly,
disappointed I didn't get to.
That it should have ended there.
That was fucking incredible.
It like
But yeah.
absolutely that should have been the ending. If he had had the guts to have a good side character beat the final boss of the series, I think I would have been willing to forgive literally everything he did wrong.
I would have even accepted he just said, "Oh, Madara has been weakened enough by a guy that Naruto and Sasuke can take him now." I would have been fine with that at worst, but no, he didn't, and there we are. Yeah, honestly, like I feel like as much as I like the final Naruto versus Sasuke fight, which is a pretty neat fight, it's kind of hampered by all the shit that came between that and Guy versus Madara.
Also, the fact that they both lived is just a cop out. Like, and the fact on the subject of genocidal assholes, the fact that Sasuke literally attempted genocide multiple times in the series and completely got away with it scot-free. We should talk about that too, huh?
Oh yeah, Sasuke's only punishment is like exile, basically.
It's not even
It's not even
exile because he's allowed to come back whenever he wants. He uses exile as an excuse to be a deadbeat dad. Like literally, he put a baby in Sakura and then left. To the point that like she didn't meet him. Like the daughter didn't meet him until she was like 12.
The only good thing that came of Sasuke pairing with Sakura is their child. Honestly.
Salad, yes.
Yes, which is kind of a damn tragedy.
So I just wanted to point out that I think the last Naruto chapter I ever read was 575.
Jesus Christ, you didn't even get to the big Toby reveal.
It ended on
then.
700, so you were quite far off.
So yeah, I was about 125 off.
Yeah, I remember the big Toby reveal was, I think, chapter 600 or something.
Literally, everyone saw it coming.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I knew about it already, but yeah.
No, like the point is, everyone knew about it from like day one.
Not day one, but it was fairly obvious from once Toby was introduced.
But yes, and that was Christmas 2018, and I started One Piece in January 2019, if I could recall correctly.
Wow. Yeah, you real jumping quality there.
Just a little bit, yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't complain. It was a very good for you that you succeeded in getting out of that hellscape in time.
Yeah. No, I don't have too many issues with the epilogue besides the Sasuke stuff, but it's just kind of there. Also, how the fuck did Choji wind up hooking up with that one lightning girl? That makes no sense.
Choji pulls.
Look, that makes perfect sense. Choji could have ended up with anyone in the series, and it would not have surprised me.
Look,
Choji
I
fucking
don't mind
pulls.
that. I don't mind that. I just wish there was interactions between them.
Yeah, they never spoke
the
on screen. No, they did not speak even once on screen.
Yeah, that's why I have issues with it.
I will give it to Kishimoto. He did actually go for at least one fan favorite pairing.
Shikamaru and Tamari?
Yes. That was a pairing that had no right to actually exist in canon, but that is literally the only thing Kishimoto did right in his entire career.
No, the other good thing he did right was not pairing Naruto with Sakura.
That's completely counteracted by the fact that he ended up pairing Sakura and Sasuke anyway.
Yeah.
I guess. Look, Naruto and Hinata are kind of cute together, okay?
Look,
I like the...
No, I won't deny that. I think that's like... It's just like the most frustrating thing about that is the fact that Nart does not acknowledge it for the entirety of the series.
Yeah, that is frustrating.
It's just like, no, that's you don't just do that.
So we've
You
got
can't just do that.
So yeah, so that's one of the big three. I think we've gone into enough detail about why Naruto ended with a whimper, and then continued on
Bleach,
with a whimper into Boruto.
yeah. Bleach, on the other hand, it's honestly even more tragic because like the final arc starts off with such a fucking bang, has this massive invasion shit going on. It has the main villain actually kill a major protagonistic figure.
I mean, the big
And
bad killing. To be fair, the big bad killing the big good isn't exactly unprecedented.
it's not unprecedented, but it still serves for a good wham episode when it does
But
happen.
again,
Well,
he
hey,
made
Tribe
the same
9 pulled
mistake.
that.
Was that?
Tribe 9 pulled that.
I mean, it's not an uncommon trope,
It's
but
like one of the more common tropes in all of fiction. No, here's the thing. But his crime was he, once again, made the bad guy invincible.
yeah, he made the bad guy too powerful and make it too difficult to beat him.
Mill, do you know what the final bad guy's power was?
No.
He was God.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty hard to fight.
All of the bad guys' powers followed an alphabetical naming scheme. His was A for the Almighty. He was basically omnipotent.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that. It's even the jobbers got functionally omnipotent powers.
Yeah, like that one luchador dude had just no, not luchador, the Valkyrie dude.
Yes,
The Valkyrie had that
it was
ridiculous power.
basically like straight out of Marvel Thor.
Yeah,
literally, he was early Marvel Thor. Was his character design, and his power was that he was invincible as long as he believed he was invincible.
and he always believed he was invincible.
Like it's just.
It said something that a straight up reality warper was a
Literally,
more
all
interesting
of the bad guys
thing.
in that arc were reality warpers, and not the fun kind. Their power was literally, you can't kill me because I can't be killed.
Also, just like there was so much setup for other characters to take part in these fights.
Yeah,
and the only fight that happened in was the one with Grimjow and Yoriichi joining in one of them.
And even then, they died horribly.
Anyway. No, they didn't die.
You know what I mean. They lost.
The fight just kind of ends off screen, and we don't even see the resolution. We don't see how they survived.
I mean, they survived because Urahara pulled something out his butt.
Yeah, I mean,
which he always does. Urahara is a fun character.
I like Urahara, yeah. They just kind of didn't do much with him in the final arc.
Again, it's because he's too competent.
Too competent. Do we ever find out what his Bankai does?
Characters basically grabbed the idiot ball or were sidelined.
Yeah. By the way, did we ever find out what Urahara's Bankai was?
Yes, he used it. It's a giant, pretty lady.
Yeah, that tracks.
His Bankai is a giant woman.
Sounds about right for Kubo.
All I want to do, see it turn to. Sorry.
Also, I do like that he was canonically banging the cat lady.
Good for him.
Oh, that's canon?
It's about as canon as you can get in a shonen series.
I mean, the only other possible option was for her to be banging Swiphon, so...
Well, no, that's only in Siphone's dreams.
You're not wrong.
No, though, because there were several parts of the series where they were in a bedroom together, not wearing much clothing, in a very obvious post-coital scenario.
Anyway,
good for them.
Yeah.
The fact that she just had a brother out of nowhere, though, is kind of... Yeah. Another thing. Kubo kind of just, pulled characters out of his ass that really, in hindsight, if these characters always existed, why did they not intervene earlier? Because they would have made a lot of the earlier arcs trivial.
Mm-hmm.
just by existing.
I mean,
I'm just-
I would less question why he pulled them out of his ass and more, why did he stick them up there in the first place?
Well, the issue was like he
Which I
had a
don't mean metaphorically.
bad he had a bad habit of just bringing in new characters whenever he got stuck in a corner. Like that was his way of getting out of the corner.
So here's the thing:
inventing new characters.
Kubo's not a good writer.
Mm.
No,
Like,
he is a great character designer, but
yes, his character design is some of the best in Shonen Jump. Right? His,
I'd say like easy top 5. Easy
Yeah.
top 5.
And honestly, his magic system is not bad. Right? The magic system, he uses it like in a piss poor fashion. But like the system itself is not bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice, simple, easy to understand system. You got the spellcasting shit with all the whatchamacallit, the Hado and the Kido and shit, and then you got the
sword stuff, and the sword stuff is actually kind of really cool because like the way he sets up, like he has swords that are stands.
Basically, yeah.
So it sounds like when he actually had time to plan stuff out, he was actually pretty good. But the minute he actually started having a hard deadline, it all went to shit.
Yeah. So something.
The thing is, he didn't plan things out after a certain. He stopped planning things out after a certain point.
Some things were easy to call because, like, Rukia, for instance, her Shikai was ice themed, so it was pretty easy to tell what her Bankai was. And sure enough, when Kubo revealed her Bankai, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I fucking called it.
Well, the elemental themes. I'll be right back. By the way, I gotta.
Yeah, the issue was like a lot of characters didn't have foreshadowed powers, or just didn't get a lot of focus, so you didn't know what they could do or what they were going to do.
Hmm.
So you ultimately wind up with a bit of a mess there.
Yeah.
So a lot of setup and a lot of payoff in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of characters wind up getting sidelined or not getting a lot of usage or mileage overall.
Mm.
And it's just all over the place.
Yeah, so why don't you... Fairy Tail, where are you two on Fairy Tail?
Never touched it.
I finished the series.
You guys want to touch on something else then? Because I got to handle something and I'll be right back.
Sure.
So I was going to bring up, because I'm fairly sure you finished it, Fire Force?
Yep. Did you finish it?
No, I've never read it.
You watched the anime, though.
I watched the anime, but I'm so behind at this point.
So
I'll forget it by the time a final season comes out, if one comes out. Or yeah.
Okay. So you don't mind me going into spoilers?
Go for it.
Okay, so a few things here. First and foremost, Fire Force is actually basically a prequel to Soul Eater.
Cool.
Second, Shinra is basically Jesus. Like, both he and his brother are virgin births.
Right. Okay. That's a little weirder. I could buy the oh, this is a prequel for Soul Eater thing. That could make sense given enough bullshitting. 2 virgin births? Even God wasn't that presumptuous.
Oh, and it gets better because his mom's demon comes back, and Shinra does a fusion dance with his mom and his brother, and they basically become God.
Why is it that Shonen has a habit of ending with, and then the main character became God?
Oh, honey, you have no idea. Yeah, no, it's kind of hilarious, honestly. It is legit just like, fuck, the entire final arc is fucking wild. And it includes Arthur just actually slaying a dragon in space and cutting the planet in half in the process.
I mean, that sounds pretty metal.
It is pretty fucking metal, actually. I love that fight.
Give it that. That sounds actually pretty good. I would accept that.
Yeah, that was honestly my favorite part of the final arc. It's not an actual dragon, but it's a guy who's called Dragon and a guy who just like
Whatever. In Arthur's fucking mind, that thing was a dragon.
correct. Correct.
And that's what matters.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so Shinra becomes God with his family?
Yes, and then
How
they
the fuck
fight
is Obi
the
keeping up
evangelist.
at this point, by the way?
Oh, Obi got his throat slashed and he's dead.
What? No!
But Shinra as God basically brings everyone back to life, including everyone who died over the course of the series, and several people who died before.
Who else died in the series?
It's just really fucking weird, man. The final stretch of Fire Force is really fucking weird.
Sounds it. Okay. Do you want to go more into Fire Force, or should we find something else to criticize? Because we got a couple ideas, I guess.
We'll save Dragon Ball for when Fuzzy gets back. Dragon Ball's not too harsh to one, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Dragon Ball is one of those where, certainly, my opinion, it went on too long. I don't think its final arcs ever got quite as bad as, you know, the worst offenders on our list. Boo Saga, again, I'm speaking from very little experience because I never actually reached the Boo arc. I always intended to go through it for the first time via DBZA, and we all know how that turned out.
Yep.
But from what I've heard, it was a step down compared to the likes of Frieza and Cell.
Yeah. Oh, Claymore. Forgot about Claymore. Claymore's ending is actually not too bad.
I don't remember anything from Claymore because it's been 2 years now since I read it.
You remember other stuff from 2 years ago, don't you?
Vaguely. Very vaguely. I mean, the other ones I was gonna see if I could mention was Bakuman and Kuroko's basketball. I don't remember much from Kuroko's other than they win the big game, but that's sort of a sports series thing. Bakuman, yep. I'm going off notes, so
please go into Bakuman.
So, again, the issue is I've not read it for 2 years. Every time I think about rereading it, I remember, oh boy, it really didn't treat its female characters well, did it? And that sort of puts me off.
Are you remotely surprised, given the author's track record?
No, not at all. But what I remember is that the final arc villain, I think they were the final villain, was somebody called Nanamine, if I remember correctly. I can't remember if they were actually the final.
What are we talking about? I have returned, by the way.
Bakuman. Mill's talking about how there were actually fucking villains in a manga about drawing manga.
Was it? If it wasn't the editor, then you're doing it wrong.
It was, if I recall correctly, it was a guy called Nanamine who was, like, I think drew basically just soulless stuff designed to get attention sort of thing, maybe? I can't remember it.
You mean, okay, I don't even know. Oh god, it's too real.
Let me see if Mal has anything on him.
But, by the way, could you just, like, clue me into because I was invested in Fire Force for a while. How did it end?
Shinra became God.
Yeah, Shinra became God and resurrected everyone. Also, it's a prequel to Soul Eater.
I called it! You guys... Jack, I remember Jack in particular was like, it's not going to end as badly as Soul Eater. Told you, I called it.
I never say anything about how bad it was. I'm just saying it wound up being a prequel. Final arc is weird, man. Final arc is weird.
Look, the last chapter I read was the chapter where Shinra was explicitly Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, no, I mentioned that Shinra and his brother are both virgin births,
Yes.
and the Messiah.
Yes, Shinra is the Messiah, and his brother is some sort of guardian angel.
Yes.
Apparently.
Also, apparently Shinra hooks up and has a kid with Iris. Shocker.
But like he's God though. That there's some power dynamic issues right there.
No, he ungods himself.
Yep, that is that author. You know what? I'm just gonna, if he ever writes another series, I'm just gonna assume it's in the Soul Eater universe at this point.
Yeah, so basically he became God by fusing with his brother and his mother.
Because that's not weird at all.
No, they did like a straight up fusion dance thing.
No comment. Okay, well, Bakuman.
So I'm reading basically the summary again. I can't remember if he's actually the final villain. I'm fairly sure he is.
Look, if Bakuman had any sort of testicular fortitude, then the final villain would be the publishing industry. The final villain would be Shueisha.
Yeah,
but you're talking about a manga by the guys who did Death Notes.
I'm sorry, Bakuman and Death Note share the same lineage?
Yes.
Yes. They're done by the same author team.
What?
Do you not know that?
Yep.
I did not know that. That is something that came straight out of left field for me. Huh. Okay then.
Okay,
Did you talk about anything between Fire Force and
No. It wasn't the final arc, I don't think. I think the final arc was just them I think it was them just trying to finally beat their that rival guy. What was his fucking name? Him? Yeah, Nizuma. I can't remember. It's been 2 years, and a lot has happened in that 2 years. So fucking much has happened in that 2 years.
Yeah, so much has happened between March 2020 and March 2020.
Don't even joke about that.
I can't even call you on that joke.
It's the only thing I can do to prevent myself from crying. We laugh so we don't cry.
Let's before we cry, let's talk about how insane Fairy Tail's ending was.
Okay, I have a lot of things to say about Fairy Tail.
Go nuts, dude.
So, okay, first off, apparently, at some point, the big bad and the big good banged.
Oh, right, I remember that.
Because they had a child, and they completely glossed over the fact that their child grew into an old man and then died in front of them without them ever knowing.
Oh.
So that's a freaking hell of a thing.
Also, Urza's mother is a dragon, and she's also a villain, and she dies, like, right in front of them. Right in front of Urza.
No. Okay, don't get me started on Urza. Urza is when the series started going downhill, which is really indicative because she was introduced in the second arc. Because Urza's a Mary Sue. Or not a Mary Sue, she's just a walking plot device. Literally any situation. Oh, she has an armor set for that. Also, she's somehow more powerful than everyone else, despite she is like a walking plot device. To be fair, later on, every character becomes a walking plot device because every fight in the series after the third arc, or after even the second or third arc, or like after the first couple of arcs, every fight in the series is the bad guys are incredibly powerful and beat the absolute crap out of the good guys, and then the good guys remember that the power of friendship exists and then one-shot the bad guys. Every single fight.
Sounds fun.
Including the final boss.
Oh yeah, man. The final boss was just so fucking
Literally, the final
lame.
boss becomes God, and then the main character's like, "You may be God and have literal reality warping powers, but I'm gonna punch you with the power of friendship, and then you're gonna die." And he
I
does.
think I think the author made Acnologia way too fucking overpowered for his own good.
I wasn't even talking about the dragon final boss. I was talking about like the other final boss. The
You're
dragon
talking
is
about
BS.
Zarat. Yeah, the
Yes.
dragon was absolute bullshit.
Though, ironically enough, Zareth did have one of the better love stories in the entirety of Shonen. And it's not a testament to the quality of that love story. It's a testament to the lack of quality in Shonen
Yeah.
romance.
Yeah.
But there's also the weird thing was, apparently... So, okay, I'm just gonna... I don't know how to address this. So, Zareth and Mavis, they kissed, and then she went into a coma because of the curse. But apparently she got pregnant somewhere along the lines. So...
It's not clear if it was before or after she went comatose.
No, but like the...
I would like to think it was before.
You saw the coma happening on screen, and like literally they kissed once, and then within seconds she went into a coma.
Oh boy.
Which
That's
I'm just gonna let
bad.
you stew in the implications of that.
Okay, I think that's, where we should, well, not quite wrap up, because before we end, because we have now hit 2 hours, I want to talk about
One more thing about Zareth and Mavis, though.
Alright, go ahead.
Just one more thing. So the epilogue, right, which is like a year later. Also, everyone gets their ships confirmed, and
Not
one of the
confirmed so much as just like some confirmed, most teased.
And then one of the worst characters, the generic edgelord rival character, just gets a harem for some reason.
Oh, Loxus?
Yeah, he just ends up with every character who didn't have a love interest.
I don't think that's what happened so much as just Lucy's imagination getting the better of her at that point.
I mean,
there's nothing firm there.
Levy and Gajeel definitely did, because there was literally a panel of them in bed together.
Oh yeah. Well, there's also the fact that there's a sequel manga and Levy's pregnant.
Oh well, that would oh god, there's a sequel manga.
Yes, there is.
We don't talk about that.
So yeah, so before we
no, just I got distracted. So this is one of the most confusing things. So in the epilogue a year later, they meet the reincarnations of Zareth and Mavis, who are like in their teens.
Adults.
Yes,
Yeah,
who are like in their teens or
adults.
early 20s. And which implies that they've been alive. The reincarnations have been alive and happy together since before their actual individuals died.
It's very confusing.
And no one really ever noticed that there was just like two doppelgangers of the main characters, just like kind of living their lives. I'm just like, that's not even a bad. It's like it's not. It's just confusing at that point. But yes, okay, sorry, I've dragged this too long.
No, it's fine. But yes, because we have now hit 2 hours, I wanted to talk about the last and probably the most important reason and the most prevalent reason for why shonen manga has a tendency to end badly, and that is axe-happy Shonen Jump editors.
Oh god, I was hoping we wouldn't talk about that because it's gonna shoot my blood pressure through the roof.
Because there are a lot of series that are good, and some series that are bad that had their endings made even worse by the fact that they got axed about 20 chapters in.
And also some series that are very bad that don't get axed.
I don't know why High School Family still lives.
Or Undead Unluck.
But they still alive?
Yeah, it is. My main three examples. Well, no, my main two examples are Hard-Boiled Cop and Dolphin, which got how many chapters? Oh god, it doesn't even say on fucking Wikipedia. Why would it not say on Wikipedia? Now I have to look at it on Viz. Where is it on Viz? It got 47 chapters in the end, and oh boy, did it get fucking viciously axed, which kind of ruined the last arc.
Oh boy.
It was given time to get to an ending, but that's about it.
What's funny is that it didn't even make sense for it to be axed because it's not even a good, well, I was going to say good series, but I can't speak to quality, but it's not even like a battle shonen. It was a gag series, wasn't it?
Basically, yeah. It was a good series is the thing. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It had a good mix of comedy, heartwarming moments, some tragic moments, and
A
like
dolphin.
really good humor.
And a dolphin.
And a dolphin. And they just axed it 47 chapters in. The other one,
That's dumb.
and this is probably one of the worst axings I've ever seen. Siren.
Oh god,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have not heard of Siren in like 7 years. I think I looked it up in not 7 years, like 9 years. I think I looked it up in like 2011. No, oh god, I looked it up in 2011. Basically, it's been over a decade.
It ran from 2008 to 2010. It got to 145 chapters, and it got fucking viciously axed because it got to near the end of the fucking. It got to. You know, it got to the sort of final fight, and then it fucking rushed through it in about maybe 3 chapters. I can't remember exactly. Again, this is one that I read 2 years ago. All I remember is that that final arc just went so fucking quick. Like, they were in the middle of a normal proper arc, and then suddenly the big bad showed up, and they had to beat him, and they did it within, like, maybe 3 to 5 chapters. And Jesus Christ, it was just so fucking vicious. And it was a bad ending. There's no other way to describe it. It was very unsatisfying, which was a shame because the series wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible. I'd say it lived up to its fucking ridiculous tagline on Viz, which if you'll just give me a second to find it. Where is Siren now? I should just fucking... There it is. Don't answer the phone unless you want to, ellipses. Dial into danger! I think it lived up to that, which is the only reason I read that series.
Oh my god.
I fucking love that tagline. It's so it's so mid 2000s and I love it.
It is very mid 2000s.
I love it so much.
Mid 2000s, which it was a mid 2000s revival of what is essentially an 80s tagline.
Yeah. I love it.
It is like straight out of an 80s or late 70s, early 80s movie poster.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
I love it. I love it to pieces. It's so fucking dumb, but I think it managed to pull it off. And as said, it is a shame because it was a decent enough series with an interesting enough concept that just had to fucking sprint to the finish line because I can only assume it got axed with that ending. Yeah, I mean, those are my main 2 examples. I mean, I could give you a fucking fuck ton of other ones that, got axed, 20 odd chapters in.
And this is why I don't get into Shonen Jump manga unless they go over 100 chapters.
I think you can get into Elusive Samurai at this point. I'd be shocked if it got axed.
You were also shocked that Beast Children got axed.
I wasn't that shocked that Beast Children got axed. I was outraged that it got axed. I wasn't surprised.
Wait, there was one that you were shocked that got axed that you really shouldn't have been.
Maybe Phantom Seer?
Yeah, it was Phantom Seer, yes. You really
I shouldn't
have
been surprised about that, because there was no reason to axe it.
Except that it's a battle shonen in a manga that is increasingly deciding, because of its one dickhead at the top, that it's not a battle shonen manga anymore.
It could have been. It could have been like fucking Jujutsu Kaisen. Damn it! It was selling well.
You know what?
It
What
had good
the
art.
only reason what do you think Jujutsu Kaisen didn't get axed because for some reason someone near the top likes Gojo,
Oh
and
god.
Akutami is just really upset about that.
But yeah,
That would be hilarious.
Phantom Seer. It was. It was in a genre that is becoming increasingly popular. You know, the dark fantasy series had good illustration. The writing was pretty good. I liked the characters, and just ugh. Now you've brought my blood pressure up.
Look, it's like we're talking about Shonen Jump. I don't think we can escape the high blood pressure. Rest in peace, me.
Well, just to make sure that I'm dragging Jack along with me, Red Hood.
Yes, we must all suffer.
If I'm going to suffer, I'm not doing it alone.
Look, I'm fine with that. Either none of us suffer or we all do. That's the blood pact we signed when we started this podcast.
No, we signed that blood pact before fucking FMK.
Look,
Yep.
you say that, but a lot of FMK was me suffering alone.
I suffered as well. I'd suffer through We Never Learn.
We both suffered through We Never Learn, Mill.
Yeah, solidarity.
I apologize.
It died like I think either first or second anyway. So
It was the first thing to die because neither me nor Mill just wanted to bother with that anymore. Because here's the thing, I have realized that a harem series is not an inherently bad genre or series simply because polyamory is a viable option. But it seems the authors haven't realized that yet, for the most part.
No, it wasn't the first thing that died. It was your lock that died, Fuzzy. Namu Amida Butsu. That was the first thing that died.
I locked that because I was unaware that there was another series that was not a sequel. Which I would have locked instead if I'd known.
I mean, hey, I locked Midnight Occult Civil Servants, so...
Oh yeah, how did that
I
end?
locked.
I don't know. We all dropped it because it was boring.
It was boring.
It had so much potential, though. That's the genre. That's a sort of dynamic in genre that I really like. I have a soft spot for urban fantasy detective agency.
Yeah.
Which I think comes from my love for Bungo Stray Dogs, which I still recommend to everyone.
It's on my catch-up list, don't worry. Where is it on my catch-up list?
It's also on my binge list somewhere, I think.
Where is it? Bungo. It's around the middle. Admittedly, I've not made any progress on it for a while, but it's on there.
It's a good series.
Once I start series, I'll burn through them. I just gotta start them.
Anyways,
I also suffered through Overly Cautious Hero and Azure Lane, Fuzzy. I suffered more than the most with those two.
Those were awful.
I'm pretty sure I agreed to kill them as soon as possible, didn't I?
Yeah, no, we did kill them as soon as possible. Still had to suffer through them.
Yes, because we could only kill one thing a week.
Yeah, which was a mistake in hindsight.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off topic, and I think we're basically done.
We are done.
We're done. Yeah, I think we're done.
Bottom line, a lot of series either dragged on too long or went too fast, and regardless, the result of that was plunking on their ass.
But again, we've shown that the way to end a shonen well is to stick to the themes, stick to the characters. If you've got a goal, fucking stick to it. Don't forget it halfway through the series and go, oh shit, I've actually got to get back to that.
Also, one of the more important things, try not to get published in Shonen Jump.
Yes.
I mean, the big thing is, try not to redeem your genocidal hero.
You'd think that would be obvious, but sadly, evidence has shown that it's apparently not as obvious as it should
Still
be.
have to mention it, apparently. Still have to mention it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I should have realized that Isayama was gonna try and redeem Eren when he okayed putting up a statue of him.
Always a good sign.
Yeah.
Always.
Because at that point, he should have known where that ship was going and should have gone, maybe it would be best if we didn't put up a statue of this character. You know, there are other characters we can put up a statue of, even if they're not quite the main character. But no, let's put up a statue of the child version of the genocidal maniac.
Yes, let's put up a statue of the character who somehow is simultaneously Jesus and Hitler, which really, the fact that he made the Hitler character the Messiah should have told us something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly wanted him to kill off Levi just because I would have found it hilarious.
It would have been funny.
He almost, like, the moment it seemed like he did, the fandom went apeshit.
I know. I wanted that to happen. I wanted it to be in the worst possible way. Like, in the most unceremonious way.
Just fallen down some stairs.
Most unceremonious way, and then for him to just, like, not actually confirm he's dead for, like, half a dozen chapters and then go, oh, actually, he's dead. That would have been perfect.
Oh, yeah, he fell down some stairs and died.
Yeah. Would have been perfect. But no, alas, he survived.
That would have required
an eye. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, we should.
An eye, I believe, yeah.
We should end. So, as always, thank you everybody for watching. In terms of future stuff, tomorrow, no D&D because some people care about their mothers.
I know, it's shocking, right?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's not helped by the fact that you Americans have changed fucking holiday dates.
What?
Why couldn't you just have Mother's Day on the day it's supposed to be?
Because we don't have to follow your damn calendar precisely the way you do.
You should. Anyway, so no D&D because people are busy. Again, understandably. I'm making fun. So instead, I will be returning to the wonderful world of Inaba in Persona 4 Golden. About to start the next big story arc. Got Kanji along with us, which is nice. He's been fun.
Nice.
And I'm finally paying attention to characters other than the two sports boys.
Shocking.
Seriously.
Really into the sports boys.
Seriously, when I got up to rank 7 with them, everybody else was at like rank 2 or 3. And there are some that I still haven't even fucking started.
How shocking that you...
It's because I keep going to every basketball practice. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Yep. That's, again...
Shocker.
Wow, Mill is into sports boys. Who'd guessed it?
Ko is very pretty, damn it. Okay? Ko is very pretty. So yeah, that's Sunday. Tuesday, might be doing something a little different. If Gen is available, we might be doing Sam and Max. If not, then gonna keep doing Persona 4 Golden because I'm enjoying myself, even if the fucking gameplay is so much worse than P5.
They don't even have guns.
They don't have guns. Oh no, I figured something out. So, like, they've obviously got the light and darkness weaknesses, but but when I was looking stuff up, I realized I don't actually have any, like, proper attacks that attack, like, light or darkness weaknesses. They just have the insta-kill ones. As it turns out, if a shadow is weak to light or darkness and you do the right insta-kill, it just kills them. There's no chance of it not working. It just kills them straight out, which I did not learn until this stream.
I don't think that actually is a mechanic in P5.
No, it's not. They have proper light and darkness attacks. They still have the
Anyways,
insta kill, but they just have proper like that.
Anyway, we should end before we talk about Persona 4.
Anyway, so yes, so Tuesday, that's what I'm doing. Thursday, no Gen, so we can't do Ace Attorney, so we're probably going to do P4 Golden again. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but I'm enjoying myself with it. And then next Saturday, we are doing, Slime Sakai animated content, aka that time I got reincarnated as a slime, seasons 1 and 2.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be especially interesting because I did actually today fall into the rabbit hole. Maybe not quite the rabbit hole, but did watch the second OP of the second season, which I fucking adore still. And then the scene where it started playing in the show when fucking Rimuru just bodied Clayman. Fucking bodied him. By the way, Fuzzy, you were right. I preferred season 2 a lot more.
I told you, it first season is base building, and then it just becomes a straight up fantasy ass battle shonen.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. Fucking loved it. So yeah, that's everything that's happening in the next week. So again, thank you for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter for, knowledge of when we go live. And on the Twitter, you'll occasionally get when we do tier lists, I'll post them up there, because I posted the MCU ones today, because we did just ranking of everything that's aired in the MCU that's actually that didn't air on Netflix. I'll just say that seems like the best qualifier, and MCU villains.
Yep. Oh, you added Moon Knight's part, right?
I did add Moon Knight. I added it right to the bottom of A tier, which I think is what you wanted.
That's appropriate.
Cool. Good. Didn't fuck that one up.
I feel like Moon Knight should have bonuses for just the existence of Oscar Isaac.
Yes, that is part of why I bumped it up to A tier.
The man
because
is
Oscar Isaac is.
First of all, he's hot, and also he's really good at acting.
Well, we'll get more into that when we discuss Moon Knight in I don't know, probably a year at this rate.
Yeah, probably.
So,
anyways,
thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Later.